One night, Maryam made just one decision, and her entire life changed. Today's story is not just Maryam's. This is the story of every person who smiles every day but cries quietly every night. And if you have ever lost your own peace while keeping others happy, then today's story might just be your story. But the most surprising part of the story is not that Maryam broke down. It's this: her entire life changed in just one night. How? Let's begin. Maryam was 24 years old, educated, sensible, gentle-natured, and always ready to help everyone. If a friend needed help with an assignment, Maryam would do it. If there was extra work at the office, Maryam would do it. If anyone at home needed anything, Maryam would be the first to step up. People would say, "Maryam is such a good girl." And every time she heard that sentence, a smile would appear on her face. She thought that was probably what it meant to be a good person. But slowly, she began to feel a strange exhaustion. This wasn't physical tiredness. This was an exhaustion of the soul. Every day she lived for others, but when she came to her room at night, she had nothing left for herself. No energy, no happiness, no peace. One day at the office, her manager gave her project to someone else. Maryam said nothing. She just smiled and said, "It's okay." Her colleague quietly asked her, "Maryam, why are you always so quiet?" Maryam smiled, but she had no answer. Since childhood, she had only heard one thing: good people never complain, and she was living as if that were the truth. But she didn't know that sometimes being unjust to yourself is injustice too. That night, when she got home, she picked up her phone, just for 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes became 2 hours. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere people looked happy. Someone's wedding, someone's new car, someone's foreign trip, someone's promotion. Maryam slowly turned off her phone, and for the first time, a thought crossed her mind. "Ya Allah, has only my life come to a standstill?" She immediately said, "Astaghfirullah," but this question wouldn't leave her heart. That night, she couldn't sleep. Until Fajr, she just stared at the ceiling. And she had no idea that the next day would be the hardest day of her life, and that same day would teach her a truth after which she would never be the same again. Maryam had no idea that the very day she feared would be the day that opened her eyes. As soon as she reached the office in the morning, the manager called all the employees into the meeting room. Excitement was on everyone's face. Today, a new team lead was going to be announced. Maryam's heartbeat quickened. For the past 2 years, every difficult project, every overtime, every extra responsibility, she was the one who had carried it. She never complained, never said no. She was certain that this time, her hard work would surely be noticed. The meeting began. The manager smiled and said, "Congratulations, everyone. Our new team lead is..." Maryam involuntarily clenched her fingers together. Silently in her heart, she prayed, "Ya Allah, if this is better for me..." The manager said the name, Sana. Applause broke out in the room. Everyone began congratulating her. Maryam was clapping and smiling too, but something inside her had broken. Sana, who had only joined the office 6 months ago, whose projects Maryam herself had helped complete most of. The meeting ended. Sana ran over to Maryam. "Maryam, thank you so much. If you hadn't helped me, I probably wouldn't be here today." Maryam smiled again. "Always stay happy." That's all she said. But her heart was nothing like her smile. That same evening, on the way home from the office, her phone rang. Her old school friend Hiba's name flashed on the screen. "Yes, Hiba?" A voice full of happiness came from the other end. "Maryam, my marriage is fixed." Maryam immediately congratulated her. Then Hiba said, laughing, "And listen, now it's your turn." That sentence was ordinary. People say it every day. But that day, that sentence went straight into Maryam's heart. The call ended. She put the phone in her bag. Looking out the bus window, she felt as though everyone around her was moving forward, and she was standing exactly where she had always stood. That night, she couldn't even eat properly. Ami asked, "Is everything okay, Beta?" Maryam smiled. "Yes, Ami, I'm just tired." That was the sentence she said every day, and every day she hid her real pain behind it. At around 2 in the morning, her eyes suddenly opened. The whole house was asleep. There was silence everywhere. She drank some water and without thinking, came and stood on the balcony. She looked up at the sky. Her heart was so heavy that words wouldn't come out. Tears were just flowing from her eyes. Then she quietly said just one sentence, "Ya Allah, I don't understand. What more should I do?" And at that very moment, suddenly the sound of Quran recitation after Tahajjud began coming from the mosque. Maryam had never listened to that sound with such attention before, but that night, for some reason, her heart became completely still. She had no idea that the next morning, one small meeting would completely change her thinking. And for the first time, someone was about to tell her that becoming a good person and erasing yourself are not the same thing. After that night, Maryam did fall asleep, but her heart was still heavy. The Fajr Azan sounded. For some reason, today she didn't pick up her phone. She went straight and performed wudu, prayed, and for the first time, instead of getting up right after finishing her prayer, she stayed seated right there. The whole house was silent, just the ticking of the clock and her breathing. She raised both her hands, but something strange happened. Today, she didn't even have the words to ask for anything. Has this ever happened to you? Your heart is so full that a person can't even make dua. Tears just keep flowing. The same thing happened to Maryam today. She only said, "Ya Allah, just hold me together." And she kept crying. That day, she took leave from the office. Her heart wasn't ready to work at all. She thought, let me walk outside for a bit. Maybe my heart will feel lighter. There was a small park near the neighborhood. She went there and sat on a bench. Children were playing, someone was riding a bicycle, someone was laughing. She was surprised. The world had no idea about her pain. Sometimes there's a storm inside us, but to the world, everything looks completely normal. She was lost in this thought when a little girl came running up to her. She was hardly 7 years old. In her hand was a half-melted ice cream. She smiled and said, "Abi, why are you sad?" Maryam smiled faintly. "No, beta, I'm fine." The girl immediately said, "My Ami says the people who say I'm fine need a hug the most." Maryam went completely silent for a moment. She thought, this thing a little girl just said, how many grown adults never even understand it? Then the girl held out her ice cream toward her. "You have some." Maryam laughed. "No, this is yours." The girl said, "Sharing makes Allah happy, doesn't it?" Tears came to Maryam's eyes. She only said, "Yes." From a distance, an elderly woman walked over. "Beta, forgive me. This is my granddaughter. She makes friends with everyone." Maryam smiled and said, "It's okay." The elderly woman sat beside her on the bench. Then she looked at Maryam very closely, as if reading the pain hidden behind her face. Then, without any introduction, she asked, "Beta, since when have you been keeping everyone else happy?" Maryam's heart suddenly stopped. She had never told anyone this, so how did this woman know? Maryam asked in astonishment, "How do you know?" The elderly woman smiled and said, "Because I was once like you too." Maryam fell completely silent. The elderly woman looked up at the sky and said softly, "Shall I tell you something? A person's greatest exhaustion doesn't come from work." Maryam was listening intently. The greatest exhaustion begins the day a person tries harder to look good in people's eyes than to please Allah. That sentence went straight into Maryam's heart. For the first time, she felt that perhaps the real cause of all her exhaustion wasn't the office, it wasn't people, rather it was the opinions of others, which she had made her own identity. And then, the elderly woman said something that was going to change Maryam's entire life. She said, "Beta, the day you learn to please Allah, that is the day you won't feel any need to keep people happy." Maryam was silent, but inside her, a door that had been closed for years was slowly beginning to open. On the way home from the park, Maryam's heart felt strangely light. The elderly woman's words kept echoing in her mind again and again. The day you learn to please Allah, that day you won't feel the need to keep people happy. She thought, have I really been living only for other people all these years? That night, she took out a notebook, and for the first time in her life, she began writing for herself. She wrote her first sentence, "What am I afraid of?" Then she wrote, "People will talk. People will get angry. People will think badly of me." She filled the whole page. Then she just stared at that page for a long time and smiled softly. She said within her heart, "I spent my entire life imprisoned by just 4 words. What will people say?" The next morning, she reached the office. Everything was the same as before. The same desk, the same people, the same voices. But today, Maryam wasn't the same as before. A little while later, her colleague, Nadia, came up to her. "Maryam, finish my report for me now. I need to go home early." This wasn't the first time. Nadia dumped her own work on her every week. Before, Maryam would immediately say, "Okay," but today, she stayed silent for a few seconds. Her heart began beating faster. The old Maryam was saying, "Don't refuse, she'll be upset." But the elderly woman's voice echoed in her mind, "Keeping everyone happy is not your responsibility." Maryam took a deep breath and very gently said, "I'm sorry, Nadia. Today, I need to finish my own work. I won't be able to help." That's all. Just this one sentence. No shouting, no anger, no rudeness. Just a respectful no. Nadia's face immediately changed. "Wow, you've really changed these days." Saying this, she walked away. Maryam's heart was pounding hard. She thought, now everyone will talk about her. Everyone will be upset. She quietly glanced around the office, but no one said anything. Everyone was busy with their own work. In that moment, she realized for the first time, the people we think about day and night, often those very people don't think about us that much at all. This realization felt like freedom to her. That evening, as she was leaving the office, the manager called out to her, "Maryam, 1 minute." Maryam's mind immediately jumped to, maybe Nadia complained. She went into the manager's room. The manager was smiling. He said, "I've been observing you for quite a few days." Maryam was surprised. The manager said, "You're very hardworking, but there's a problem." Maryam stayed silent. The manager continued. You do everyone else's work. Because of this, people respect you less and appreciate your availability more. Hearing this sentence, Maryam went completely quiet. The manager said again, being a good employee is important, but keeping boundaries is even more important than that. At that moment, Maryam remembered the elderly woman from the park. Today, two different people were teaching her the exact same thing. Perhaps Allah was truly teaching her something. That night, Maryam made only one dua into Hajj. Not a job, not a promotion, not people's love. She only said, Ya Allah, just make me this, that I live for your pleasure, not for people's pleasure. And after that dua, for the first time, she found the peace she had been searching for in people's words for years. But the story isn't over yet, because when Allah changes a person, the first thing that happens is that the people around them begin to change too. And someone was about to come into Maryam's life who would become the biggest test of her new resolve. 2 days passed. Maryam realized that saying no is certainly difficult, but not impossible. There was a strange peace inside her. For the first time, she had begun to lift others' burdens off her own shoulders. But life often tests us exactly when we think we've learned our lesson. It was a Friday. There was a lot of work at the office. Everyone was busy with their files. Just then, the manager called out, Maryam, come to the conference room. Maryam got up immediately and went. In the room, along with the manager, another woman was sitting. Her face looked familiar. The manager smiled and said, Maryam, this is our HR director from the head office. Maryam greeted her respectfully. The HR director smiled and gestured for her to sit. Then she asked a direct question. Maryam, if you're so hardworking, why didn't you get the promotion? Maryam was taken aback. She had never even thought about this question. There was silence for a few moments. Then she said slowly, maybe it just wasn't in my fate. The HR director smiled slightly. No, fate is a different matter. This was the result of your own habit. Maryam looked at her in surprise. The woman slid a file across the table toward her. These were the performance reports of the past 2 years. Every report said the same thing. Excellent worker, highly responsible, always available.
Yes, please.
Then the HR director took out another paper.
Yes,
this was the promotion evaluation form. One line in it was highlighted. Lacks leadership and decision-making confidence. Maryam's breath caught. She asked quietly, but I never refused anyone's work. The HR director answered very calmly, exactly. A leader isn't someone who carries everyone else's burden. A leader is someone who knows when to say yes and when to say no. These words pierced her heart like an arrow. As she left the office, Maryam wasn't crying today. She was thinking. For the first time, she realized that her life's biggest enemy wasn't people. It was her fear. The fear of losing people. The fear of their displeasure. The fear of their opinion. And when a person lives with fear, they don't make decisions. They simply start flowing along with people's wishes. That night, Maryam opened her diary again. She read what she had written on the first page. What will people say? She picked up her pen and drew a thick line through that sentence. Below it, she wrote just 4 words. What does Allah want? She closed the diary, closed her eyes, and smiled quietly for a long time. For the first time, she didn't have an answer to every question, but she now had the right direction. Over the following weeks, people truly noticed that Maryam had changed. Now she smiled too, but not out of obligation. She helped too, but not by sacrificing her self-respect. And the most beautiful part? She no longer stayed up all night carrying other people's comments in her head. She had learned that once a heart finds the support of Allah, it needs people's validation far less. But there was still one test remaining, the hardest test, the test that often comes into every person's life. When the very people who never valued you come back into your life again. And something similar was about to happen to Maryam too. One phone call, just one phone call, was about to test all her newfound courage. Life slowly began moving forward on its own path. Maryam was now more at peace than before. She had begun to find joy in her prayers, reading a few verses of the Quran in the morning, praying before going to the office, and doing self-reflection every night. These had become part of her new life. She thought, maybe Allah has truly changed my life? But sometimes Allah doesn't change us. First, He tests us. One evening, on the way home from the office, her phone rang. A name lit up on the screen. Sana calling. Maryam's footsteps suddenly stopped. This was the same Sana who'd gotten the promotion, the same Sana whose projects Maryam had completed, and the same Sana who, after the promotion, had slowly drifted away from her. Maryam stared at the screen for a few moments. Her heart said, "Don't pick up." But she answered the call. Hello? A voice full of panic came from the other side. Maryam, please listen to me. I'm in a lot of trouble. Maryam stayed silent. Sana was crying. There's a head office audit tomorrow. My report is incomplete. Only you can help me. Maryam closed her eyes. In her mind, old scenes began playing one after another. Those nights when she did Sana's work, that promotion, which she never got, those tears, which she cried alone. And then, from some corner of her heart, a voice came. See, people never change. Another part of her said, refuse, let her feel it this time too. Maryam's hands trembled slightly. This wasn't just Sana's phone call. This was the door to her old wounds reopening. She took a deep breath and simply asked, "Sana, tell me the truth. Do you only remember me when you need me?" There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone. Then Sana said slowly, "Yes, maybe. I never valued you. I thought you would always help me, and I took wrongful advantage of that." Tears came to Maryam's eyes. This was the first time someone had admitted the injustice done to her. She looked up at the sky. A strange battle was happening within her heart. On one side was her ego saying, "Refuse." On the other side was her heart, which reminded her of something from the Quran. Good and evil cannot be equal. Repel evil in the way that is best. She closed her eyes and said in her heart, "Ya Allah, give me the ability to make the decision that pleases you, not the one driven by my anger." Maryam brought the phone back to her ear and said very calmly, "Sana, I will help you, but this time there will be one condition." Sana was surprised. "What condition?" Maryam said with a smile, "I won't do your work for you. I will teach you, because carrying someone else's burden isn't real help. Teaching them to walk on their own, that's real help." On the other end of the phone, Sana broke down crying, and that night, 2 women's lives changed. One learned how to ask for help, and the other understood the difference between helping and enabling. But Maryam still didn't know that Allah had written an even greater joy for her, a joy she had never even prayed for, and that joy was only 3 days away. 3 days passed. The atmosphere at the office was completely normal. For the first time, Sana prepared her own presentation. Where before she used to call Maryam over for every small thing, today she only sent a message. "Thank you. Today I understood that you weren't saving me, you were making me strong." Maryam read the message and simply smiled and put down her phone. For the first time, her heart felt no restlessness for anyone's praise. She realized when your intention is for Allah alone, people's gratitude feels good, but it doesn't feel necessary. That same evening, the manager called her into the office again. Maryam felt a slight nervousness in her heart. She knocked on the door. "May I come in?" "Yes, please." This time, along with the manager, the HR director was sitting. Both were smiling. Maryam was puzzled. The manager closed the file and looked straight at her and said, "Maryam, congratulations." Maryam couldn't understand at all. "For what?" The HR director smiled and said, "The head office has launched a new department. We needed someone who isn't just hardworking, but is emotionally mature too." Maryam stayed silent. The HR director continued, "We've been observing you for the past few weeks. Everyone noticed you've changed, but the strange thing is you've become softer than before, but stronger than before too." The manager laughed and said, "And that combination is very rare in very few people." Tears came to Maryam's eyes. She thought, "Ya Allah, the promotion I cried over, you had something even better hidden away from me." She remembered that night's prayer. "Ya Allah, just hold me together." At that time, she hadn't asked for a promotion. She had only asked for Allah's support. And Allah didn't just give her support, He changed her entire way of thinking. As she left the office, it began to rain. People were running towards the parking lot. Maryam walked slowly. She lifted her face towards the sky. Raindrops fell on her face. She closed her eyes, and on her lips was just one word, Alhamdulillah. In that moment, she realized peace wasn't in the promotion. Peace was in the journey where Allah had never once let go of her hand. She reached home. Ummi was making tea. Maryam quietly sat down beside her. Ummi smiled and said, "You look very happy today." Maryam held her mother's hand and rested her head in her lap like a child. Then she said softly, "Ummi, I spent my whole life running after people, but peace was waiting for me with Allah all along." Tears filled Ummi's eyes. She only said, "Beta, the day a person finds Allah, that is the day they find themselves too." Maryam was silent, but her heart, after years, was completely still today. That stillness that only comes from being close to Allah. But the most beautiful part of the story was still to come, because a few months later, Maryam wanted to find that elderly woman again on that same park bench. She went every day. 1 day, 2 days, a whole week, but she never found her. She asked the park's guard, "There used to be an elderly woman who came here." The guard said in surprise, "Sister, I've been on duty here for the past 10 years. The woman you're describing? No woman of that description has ever come here." Maryam stood there in silence for a few moments. She looked up at the sky. A strange shiver ran through her heart. Was she only ever a traveler? Some guidance sent by Allah? Or just an event whose secret only Allah knows? She never got an answer, but one thing stayed with her for the rest of her life. Only Allah knows when, to whom, and through what means He chooses to send guidance. If today you too are tired of trying to keep people happy, then remember one thing: the effort to look good in people's eyes never ends, but the effort to earn Allah's pleasure gives the heart everlasting peace. It may seem today that your prayers aren't being answered, but Allah may be writing into your life that is even more beautiful than you could imagine. So don't measure your worth by people's applause. Connect your worth to the Lord who loved you unconditionally. And remember, when Allah becomes enough for you, the shortcomings of this world don't break a person, they make them stronger.